Brazil celebrates Independence Day in defense of democracy, sovereignty, and union, and a grand parade in the capital attended by President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. In Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum becomes the presidential candidate for the Morena party in the 2024 elections. Russia demands the U.S. delivery of depleted uranium shells to Ukraine and called it a criminal act. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. Brazil celebrates Independence Day in defense of democracy, sovereignty, and union, and a grand parade in the capital attended by President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. The parade, which started at 9 a.m. local time, gathered around 30,000 people on the esplanade of the ministries in Brasilia. This year, the theme of the jubilee is democracy, sovereignty, and unity. The celebrations of the Week of the Homeland began on Friday, September the 1st, with the inauguration of the Independence exhibition, with a display of military equipment such as ships, combat vehicles, weapons, and airplanes. The independence of Brazil resulted after a series of political and military events in Bahia, Rio de Janeiro, and Sao Paulo between 1821 and 1824 that led to the independence of the Kingdom of Brazil from the United Kingdom of Portugal.
Brazil's independence is not yet finished. It needs to be built every day by all of us on three great foundations: democracy, sovereignty, and union. Democracy is the raw material for the realization of our dreams. If we dream of a good job, with a good salary, if we dream of a house of our own, if we dream of our sons and daughters at university, if we dream of quality food for all the Brazilian people, if we dream of a better country, it is democracy that will say whether or not we have the opportunities to realize our dreams.
The cry of the exclude takes to the streets of 25 Brazilian states this September the 7th. Thousands of events are planned with the themes What are you hungry and thirsty for, which propose reflections and action in search of alternatives to the difficulty of access to food and water. Demonstrations are held annually, always on September the 7th, as a counterpoint to the cry of the independence, which was proclaimed by the representative of the Portuguese royal family. The idea is to bring to the streets and squares the silent cries coming from the files, basements, and peripheries of society. In Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum was elected as the presidential candidate for the left-wing political party Morena for the 2024 elections. The president of the National Council of Morena, Alfonso Durazo, announced the results. Sheinbaum will have the responsibility to lead the way towards the 2024 elections. Claudia Sheinbaum won Morena's internal race with 39% of the votes. It will be the first time that a woman enters the race for the presidency of Mexico as a clear favorite.
Thank you. Thank all of you. I am thrilled. And I would first like to thank the president of my Morena party, Mario Delgado, the general secretary, Sindalis, the president of the National Council, the governor of Sonora, Alfonso Durazo, for the great work they have all been doing for a long time, but above all in the process of the survey, where there were working tables, difficulties, and they always came out ahead. Thank you very much for your work, truly, my enormous recognition and admiration.
On the other hand, the theme of former Foreign Minister and pre-candidate Marcelo Ebrard, in the voice of his representative Marta Lucía Micherd, ratified that they remain in Morena and that they will settle their differences within the party.
We are not going to leave Morena. We are part of this family. We are proudly Morenos. We are happy because many of us have been here for years. If that is what they want, they are not going to achieve it. We are happy in this movement because we are a family, but there are also differences within the family.
And 2 years after the magnicide of the Haitian president Jovenel Moïse, there are possible advances in the investigations and the case. The ratified Colombian military officers Germán Alejandro Rivera Garcia detained in the United States along with a group of suspects having participated in the assassination of the Haitian president Jovenel Moïse in 2021 will plead guilty this Thursday in a Miami court. And for Venezuelans, after being hit by sanctions and military threats, daily life was full of twists and turns. That's why back to 2019, with artisanal skills and engineering degrees, and a family to produce, Rodolfo started calls breeding together with his wife Jennifer as a way to guarantee protein supplies for themselves in the midst of that scarcity. As time went by, the calls multiplied, and with them and small but fruitful businesses grew as well. Our colleague Adriana Sigori and Luis Horacio Gutierrez went to their urban farm in Caracas and bring us their story.
He is a communication engineer, but this path does not lead to his office. This time he is entering the world of birds. Now he takes it as his vocation. But this was not the case when he started in 2019.
The crisis led us to activate our imagination, to see how to find a solution to the different problems that we were facing in terms of food and the economy. And also, at that time, there was the risk that Venezuela was going to be invaded, that it was going to enter into conflict. So one also looked for a way to project oneself, to plan on how to seek refuge in a style of production that will allow subsistence. At a time of conflict or at the time of any of the different crises that one could be experiencing.
He used his knowledge to his advantage.
I made this incubator from recyclable material.
It is a styrofoam cooler. He put fertile quail eggs inside and the first 30 hatched. Now they have more than 150. His wife is in charge of the care and advertising for sales, which she does from her home using social networks.
We took chances, investigated, studied, through trial and error. It made us want to keep moving forward and not to give up for the family and for the children. Our path has not been easy. It's like everything. We have had stumbles, we have had difficulties, falls, losses. But the point is to continue, to persevere, to fight, to have constancy, discipline, and not give up.
Production advanced, and each animal lays around 30 eggs per month, some of which are donated as a contribution.
He helps the community, especially me. I don't buy them. He gives them to me, donates them for my daughter who is sick. So I don't buy them, but I know they are expensive.
In many countries, they are considered a treat. They are smaller than chicken eggs, but they have more proteins, twice as much iron, and cost fewer allergies.
Luis Horacio Gutierrez y Adriana Sigori, teleSUR, Caracas. Él es un ingeniero.
YouTube and other platforms. Now let's take a very first break, but remember you can now join us on our TikTok account, teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. Tropical storm Lee has already become a Category 1 hurricane and is advancing towards the Eastern Antilles. The United States National Hurricane Center warned that storm surge generated by Lee, which will continue to threaten and will reach the Antilles, the Virgin Islands, and also Puerto Rico. The cyclone is currently registering maximum sustained winds of 120 kilometers per hour and is expected to increase and become an extremely dangerous hurricane by Friday. On Thursday, in the United States, a judge ordered Texas to remove a large flooding barrier from the Rio Grande River by September the 15th. According to the Immigrant Legal Resource Center Senior Texas strategist Carolina Canizales, the boys are a symbol of hate, filled and inhuman. Police Governor Abbott uses to wage a war on immigrants. For his part, Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued a statement saying the state will appeal the ruling and that it will continue to use all strategies to allegedly secure the border, including the deployment of Texas National Guard soldiers. Uranium becomes the topic of the day also in Eurasia. The aid package promised Washington to Kiev includes depleted uranium ammunition. Russia issues a warning and considers this move as a criminal act. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov warned that this move leads to a dangerous escalation of the situation. The 120mm caliber munitions promised by the United States to its allies in Ukraine is considered to be a nuclear component. The Russian diplomat noted that the decision of the United States also reflects disregard for the consequences for life and the environment. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov said that the delivery of depleted uranium shells to Ukraine by the United States is a criminal act. The diplomat points out that this act reflects Washington's regard for the environmental consequences. Ryabkov stated that dozens of plenary meetings have been held with environmental experts, doctors, and specialists of the danger to life of this type of ammunition. Depleted uranium is a derivative from the enrichment process of the mineral of the same name and is about 60% less radioactive than natural uranium. The depleted uranium munitions that the United States will supply to Ukraine represents an effective weapon to price armored vehicles and are controversial because of the risk of toxicity for the military and the civilian population. On Wednesday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky appointed Rustem Umerov as his new defense minister. In his first remarks, Umerov vowed to reconquer all territory under Russian military control. Umerov was approved by the lawmakers after being proposed by President Volodymyr Zelensky as the new defense minister. The appointment of Umerov 41 marks a significant change for Ukraine more than a year and a half after the Russian special military operation and comes in the wake of corruption scandals in the defense ministry. Several of the officials invited to the G20 summit have already arrived in New Delhi, India, 2 days ahead of the gathering. The agenda of the meeting focuses on the Global South. Will review issues such as gender empowerment, inclusive economic growth, and the development of the digital public infrastructure. The G20 leaders have agreed that the Indian presidency is a great opportunity for the countries not represented in the forum. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations (ASEAN) summit concluded on Thursday in Indonesia with commitments by the United States, China, and Russia to promote and enable peace and multilateralism based on international norms. ASEAN's gathering was attended by the U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris, Chinese Premier Li Qiang, and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov for a direct high-level meeting between the parties. The 18 nations meeting caused tensions among the diplomats in Washington, Beijing, and Moscow because of the armed conflict with Ukraine, Russia, and Washington's interests in Taiwan 2 months after the last meeting. teleSUR English launches on videos on-demand sites for you to go and revisit our interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Just go to the top left corner in our website homepage and click on the video option to access our VOD platform. Now let's take our last break. Don't go away. Welcome back. The leader of the military junta in Gabon announced the release of the post-president Ali Bongo on Thursday. General Brice Oligui Nguema, who heads the so-called Committee for the Transition and the Restoration of the Institutions in the country, held a meeting with Faustus Archingan, President of the Central African Republic, who has been delegated by the Economic Community of Central African States as a facilitator of the political process. In the framework of these meetings, the release of the deposed president was decided for health reasons, and a roadmap was drafted to allow the return to constitutional order.
Given his state of health, former President of the Republic, Ali Bongo Ondimba, is free to move about. He may, if he wishes, travel abroad to undergo medical checkups.
Nigeria's ruling junta has decided to increase the price of uranium for sale by a factor of 250. From now on, the country, which is a crucial player on the world uranium sands market, will charge 200 euros per kilogram. Before, Nigeria, which historically had its best buyers in France, sold a kilogram of uranium from an 0.80 euros. This momentous move will not only have a strong impact on the local economy, but also on the global uranium market and international relations. On Thursday, the government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo raised to 50 the death toll after protests against the United Nations missions in North Kivu. The Interior Minister, Peter Kasari, explained that last week a local armed group called for an unauthorized protest against the mission, which was repressed for undermining public order after the demonstrators allegedly killed a policeman by stoning him. In the investigations, the authorities arrested 2 senior military officers from wounded, and they said 140 others are being tried by the Military Prosecutor's Office for conspiracy to commit crimes and participation in an insurrectional movement. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, on X, Instagram, and Telegram and TikTok. For teleSUR English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.